The opportunity to play for the New York Giants was truly a dream come true, and I'm extremely grateful to the Mara and Tisch families for the chance to play here. There have been some great times, but of course, we all wish there had been more of those. I take full responsibility for my part in not bringing more wins. Of course, this season has been disappointing for all, and of course, I wish I could have done more. I'm 100% accountable for my part. I did not play well enough consistently enough to help the team get the results. The reality of the NFL is it's hard to win games and requires consistent performance from everyone involved. We didn't do that well enough, so the idea to change something happens, and I understand. I love the game. I love being part of a team. I'm excited for the next opportunity and know that there's a lot of good football in front of me, and I'm excited about that.
Well, certainly a lot to just unpack with the Giants benching Daniel Jones. 6 years in New York, a 24-44 record. Now he's on the scout team at practices. He has that goodbye. 5 games left in this regular season. Peter, how do you feel like the Giants are handling this situation? And what did you think of what Daniel Jones said there in that seemingly prepared statement also?
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I'm not sure what my reaction is to the statement. Daniel Jones is 3-13 since inking his new deal. Mm-hmm. They've lost 5 straight games. He turns the ball over every game. Like, I don't think it's egregious to consider a different option. I don't think it's crazy to say, let's try to shake it up. They've got 2 games in 4 days. They go to Tommy DeVito, who was in the offense last year and won 3 straight games at the same point last year. I didn't think this was going to be such a the reaction that Daniel Jones, the Supreme Court justice, I guess, was somehow removed. Like, the way that everyone's so shocked. And then Daniel gets up there on the podium, and it's like this teary farewell or something. Like, they might need you again. I'm confused. Like, is he shutting it down? Yeah. Quarterbacks get benched all the time in the league. I've seen much better quarterbacks get benched over the course of their career. That I like Daniel Jones, and I think everyone does as a person. I also think there's a scoreboard at the end of the day, and they're 2-8, and they've lost 5 straight. So let's mix it up and go to another young quarterback. I think the Giants handled this rather fine, and maybe the communication wasn't as perfect. And maybe Daboll and Daniel Jones don't have this, like, swimmingly Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford relationship where they're going to Cabo together. But so what? The team hasn't won. And maybe I'm being harsh on a critic here, but, like, I don't cry many tears for Daniel Jones this morning because he got benched. He's 3-13 since signing a giant deal. They're shaking it up. They want to try something new. I don't know.
I mean, did we not just see, as he was saying it, he was like, I feel sorry for the loss. Uh-huh. I mean, I wish I wouldn't have saw it. If I would have heard it, it would have sounded a little more heartfelt. Right. But I think Kayvon Thibodeau came on and said it best. It was like he reminds you that the NFL is a business. Yeah. When you don't win, anybody's job's up. I now know this, when you don't win enough, sometimes the business will take over. Yeah. And you hate to see it. And at the same time, I'm more surprised that Tommy DeVito got the head nod over Drew Lock. Because, you figure, I played Tommy DeVito. No offense. Yeah. But you figured Drew Lock. I played Drew Lock. It, brother. You just feel like when you've played against, I don't think I played against Daniel Jones somehow. But when you just talk about the quarterbacks at hand, you have to go somewhere else with it. Fine, you got Malik Neighbors out there. You've got talented guys. You're looking at it like, man, they should have just paid Saquon whatever they wanted as an organizational standpoint. So, yeah, sometimes you pivot. Yeah. It's always difficult because I've been in that situation on the other side of the political business in the NFL. My last year with the Saints, Cam kind of knows about that. And so I understand, I'm a family guy, and whenever you come into a locker room, you try to create that family atmosphere. And that's the thing for all of us who's played the game and anybody who's been a part of a team in any certain capacity is when somebody has to leave or somebody's removed, it doesn't feel the same. There's just a little void there, or whatever it may be, good, bad, or indifferent, however you want to feel. How the Giants have kind of gone about this whole process, I'm not sure the whole specifics of it, but the way that they've handled it, I understand it from a business standpoint. They're trying to rebuild this team. In order to rebuild this team, you need some cap space. In order to sign some guys, you need some cap space. And unfortunately, Daniel Jones, and this has nothing to do with Daniel Jones, like the Giants decided this. Like the Giants, you signed him. The Giants, you drafted him. Like that's the thing about this whole thing is everybody's having all of these opinions about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was that same quarterback at Duke. Like he was the same quarterback, but the New York Giants saw something in him and wanted to bring him in.
he's, to his credit, he's been, I don't think he's somebody that you look at and he's purposely losing games. Like, this guy's honestly trying hard. But there's a cap to people's production, I would say. I would say this, as a teammate, it's hard to go through that. I'm going through it myself again. I understand with the business aspect that certain decisions have to be made.
Yeah, the business decision was clear. And Peter said it, 3-13 since signing the big deal. He's the $40 million guy. And when you look at, this situation in its whole, I think there are a lot of layers to it. We know the financial aspect of it with the injury guaranteed money. We get that. Benching a quarterback, I don't think is the problem. When I look at this and I see Daniel Jones coming up with a prepared speech, that seems to me to be a little bit odd, And so I can only speculate that maybe there's some tension or whatever going on inside of that locker room. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just kind of reading between the lines, because I think what happens is when there's unresolved frustration tied with high expectation, that often leads and is like the fertile ground for bitterness and resentment. I can only imagine they're going, hey, we paid this dude all this money, right? Just me thinking out loud here. And, we paid him all this money and we're not, reaping the benefit of this. Now, if they're not saying it, if they're not, implementing certain things to help him through the way, now all of a sudden this thing starts to turn into this frustration, and that frustration turns into bitterness. And now you find yourself on scout team. Scout team? And I think that's where the problem to me lies. Like, you put your quarterback as a scout team safety. This is what, is speculated to happen. And if that's the case, that's not just being kicked out or removed from the starting position. You're literally, and I always love when Kyle says this, Siberia. Like, you're being like defensive Siberia? That to me reads as a little disrespectful. That reads to me that Daniel Jones understands that this is it. So he came in with a prepared speech, so he didn't get over emotional, didn't start going sideways. I thought he handled it very well, very respectful in having a prepared speech. So he stayed on target. He thanked the family, he thanked the ownership, and I think he knows this is it for him.
I hated the prepared speech. Daniel, put the card down. Just talk. Can you just talk? Can you just unplug yourself from the wall and speak as a guy who's been there 6 years? Here's how I feel. Here's my emotions. And speaking of emotions, what is this? Was that Lou Gehrig at Yankee Stadium? What was that? This is a terrible decision the Giants made only worse by the decision to extend him. It's a really bad era of Giants football. Daniel Jones had 6 years, multiple coaches, multiple receivers. Players get benched. You weren't good enough. You made a ton of money. Now just move on. And you know what? Just say, hey, thanks. I wish it had worked out better. Drop the mic. Get off. I hated that moment. I hate even more this crazy emotional reaction to it. This is not a sympathetic figure, guys, at all. He's given every opportunity and every dollar to win, and he couldn't. That's football.